Hello and welcome back. I am Flavia Gezmerlan, and in this final episode of our module, I will present you two real Romanian agritainment settings and tell you their story in a way that will allow us to connect the concepts we've explored together to authentic places and practices. Our first case study refers to COBOR Biodiversity Farm, a place reviving tradition in Transylvania. At the base of the Transylvanian hills, in the small village of COBOR in Brașov County, a remarkable project has been unfolding. What was once a series of abandoned houses and neglected pastures has been transformed into the COBOR Biodiversity Farm, an initiative that blends conservation, rural heritage, and agritainment. Visitors stepping into this space are not just guests. They become part of a living landscape where farming, biodiversity, and cultural memory meet. The farm offers a carefully balanced rhythm of activities. Guests might start the day with short outdoor movements across the pastures, stopping at birdwatching heights to quietly observe wild fauna in their natural habitats. Later, they can join hands-on farm chores, helping care for Hungarian grey cattle, learning about sustainable grazing practices, or riding in a traditional horse cart through oak-dotted meadows. These routes and moments are deliberately designed with pacing in mind, short bursts of movement followed by place-based stops that allow immersion, reflection, and sensory engagement. COBOR is not only about entertainment, it is also about showing rather than telling. Instead of lectures on biodiversity, visitors witness directly how grazing maintains meadows, how forest edges sustain wildlife, and how village life is preserved by creating real jobs and local enterprise. Seasonal workshops, cycling tours, glamping in restored houses, and shared community meals bring together guests, locals, and nature in a way that demonstrates sustainability as a lived practice, not just an abstract concept. This case is powerful because it integrates conservation enterprise into agritainment. It demonstrates to learners how a location can use fun, family-friendly activities to build awareness and engagement while at the same time contributing to the restoration of both ecosystems and communities. COBOR becomes more than a farm visit. It becomes a story of how tradition and innovation can coexist in service of both people and planet. For our second case study, we will be talking about Ferma de sub Penteleu, a place dedicated to learning by doing in the Buzău Mountains. Moving further south from COBOR, under the dramatic silhouette of Mount Penteleu in Buzău County, we encounter another inspiring example, Ferma de sub Penteleu. This is not a staged attraction, but a working farm that has opened its gates to visitors with a clear promise. You will not just observe rural life, you will live it. Here, agritainment takes the form of immersive participation. Guests begin the day feeding animals or gathering berries and medicinal herbs from the surrounding hills. Soon, they are pulled into craft workshops that bring ancient skills back to life: blacksmithing, carpentry, wool felting, pottery, weaving. These are not demonstrations performed for passive audiences. Instead, participants are handed tools, guided step by step, and encouraged to make, shape, and learn by doing. Children gather around to flip pancakes on the griddle, while adults test their hand at carving or weaving. Afternoons may take visitors out into the landscape on hikes, cycling trails, or even canoe trips along the river. By evening, everyone gathers around a long wooden table to share meals sourced directly from the farm. Weddings, team buildings, and retreats often find a home here, drawn by the unique mix of rural authenticity and structured activity. The philosophy of Ferma de sub Penteleu is clear. Entertainment and education are inseparable. By opening space for people to play, taste, create, and share, the farm transforms traditional rural knowledge into experiences that resonate with modern visitors. It demonstrates how agritainment can both preserve intangible cultural heritage and make it accessible to new generations. For our learners, this case study illustrates how agritainment thrives when activities are hands-on, participatory, and emotionally engaging. It is one thing to see a piece of pottery being made, and quite another to feel the clay in your own hands, to fail at first, then succeed under the patient eye of an artisan. This is the power of Penteleu, to anchor learning in doing while weaving people into the living fabric of the Romanian countryside. What these two cases teach us is that successful agritainment is not accidental, it is designed. Both COBOR and Ferma de Penteleu rely on a principle we explored earlier in this module, the importance of cadence. Notice how the experiences alternate between activity and pause, between movement and reflection. A ride through the pastures is followed by a quiet stop at a hide. A morning of craft work is balanced by a shared meal. This rhythm ensures that visitors are not overwhelmed, but instead remain engaged, curious, and receptive. Another key concept on display is the practice of show, don't tell. Neither farm relies on heavy explanations or didactic teaching. Instead, they craft experiences where meaning is absorbed naturally. Guests understand biodiversity because they see how grazing shapes meadows. They appreciate craftsmanship because they feel the weight of the hammer or the softness of the wool. In other words, knowledge becomes embodied, not abstract. Finally, both cases highlight the role of sensory engagement. Agritainment works best when it speaks to more than intellect. The sound of cowbells, the smell of fresh hay, the taste of a meal freshly harvested, the texture of clay. These sensory cues anchor the experience in memory. These are the elements that transform a farm visit into something that lingers long after departure. So when we evaluate or design agritainment experiences, these Romanian examples remind us to think beyond the checklist of activities. The real success lies in how activities are sequenced, how learning is embedded into doing, and how the senses are engaged to create lasting impact. As we close this module, hold on to one truth. Agritainment is not simply leisure on a farm. It is a story people are invited to live. When guests are given the chance to touch, to taste, and take part, they leave with memories that outlast the visit. And it is within these lived stories that the future of sustainable tourism and the deeper art of hospitality will continue to grow. Thank you.